President-elect Donald Trump, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. You are the first president since Grover Cleveland to win non-consecutive terms. Republicans now have control of the House and the Senate.
Right.
What do you plan to accomplish in your first 100 days in office?
Well, we're going to do something with the border, and very strong, very powerful. That'll be our first signal, and a first signal to America that we're not playing games. We have people coming in by the millions, as you know, and a lot of people shouldn't be here. Most of them shouldn't be here, but we have jails being emptied into our country. We have mental institutions from all over the world being emptied into our country. So we'll be doing that. We're going to be extending within that period, or as soon as we can, the Trump tax cuts, because, you know, they're coming due and they're very substantial for people. And it would be very, I think it will anger a lot of people, frankly, if we don't get an extension of that. That's what led us to one of the greatest economies ever. And those two things are going to be very vital, very important. We're going to be focusing on crime in the cities. And we'll work with Democrat governors. Most of them are, as you know, if you look at the 25 worst places, they're just about all Democrat-controlled cities and states. And we're going to be working with Democrat governors and Democrat mayors. And I look forward to doing it. But we have to do something about crime, and mostly in our cities. And we're going to have a lot of other things. We'll be working on nominations. We're going to still be working on some nominations. I think they're going very well. We have, for the most part, I think they're going extremely well. It looks like Peter's doing well now. I mean, people were a little bit concerned. He's a young guy with a tremendous track record, actually. He went to Princeton and went to Harvard. He was a good student at both, but he loves the military, and I think people are starting to see it. So we'll be working on his nomination along with a lot of others.
We are going to delve into your nominations, but since you bring him up, do you still have confidence in Pete Hegseth?
Yes, I do. I really do. He's a very smart guy. I've known him through Fox, but I've known him for a long time. And he's basically a military guy. I mean, every time I talk to him, all he wants to talk about is the military. He's a military guy. I used to kid him about it. I didn't think we'd be in this position where he may be, hopefully will be Secretary of Defense. But every time I was with him, he was fighting for soldiers, where he said some soldier was unjustly put in prison because they were really doing what they were taught to do, in some cases. So, yeah, I think he's going to be fine.
The fact that there are these allegations against him, misconduct, sexual misconduct.
Hey, of course, we've all been waiting for the interview to begin, and it seems the interview is just starting, the allegations, okay? I mean, what is an interview without the allegations? NBC, come on. But anyway, you know, Trump just destroyed them like nothing. And we are here to report on that and to really make you feel good about what's to come 2025 when Trump takes office, because he's just destroying this fake news. I mean, this interview is epic. It's already got about 1 million views from NBC News. So, let's just see what she got to say. You know, there'll be lots of traps on the way and stuff like that. But of course, I watched it before and Trump just did really good.
Heavy drinking, the fact that he said to some senators reportedly he'll stop drinking if he gets this job. Yeah. Does that worry you?
No, I think that everybody has something that they can stop. Some people can stop eating.
Of course.
I'm lucky I'm not a drinker, but I could stop eating. And we all want to stop doing something. And if he said that, I mean, it's a nice thing to say. That's a good thing to say. But he's very respected. I can tell you, I know a lot of the people at Fox, they think he's fantastic. And the people that work with him, really, they love him. So I think you're going to have somebody that's really terrific. And again, all he talked about with me, I said, you know, you're not really a television guy, even though he did very well, as you know.
At Fox.
You're really a military guy. He said, I'm all about the military. And I told him, so he's making a lot of money at Fox. They're doing very well. And I said, you know, if for some reason you don't get this thing, you're not going to be able to go back. And all that money you're making, you can kiss it goodbye. He said, this is all about America. You know, he didn't say, well, let me think about it, let me discuss it. That's a very big, risky thing he's doing. When he goes and he says, I'm going to give up, you know, millions of dollars in order to possibly become the Secretary of Defense. A lot of people would say it's a great position. It's probably almost no greater position, but a lot of people would say, I have to think about it. He said,
Yeah.
I don't have to think about it.
All right, we're going to delve into
Yeah, sure,
your cabinet
sure.
picks a little bit later, but I want to delve into one of your signature
I want to delve into, she sounds like AI, like everything is just being written for her to just read through. And it seems they use AI to, to come up with this stuff. I mean, they must have had their own personal large language model in their office to just pop out these things like robots.
promises on the campaign trail, which was to end inflation, to lower prices. You are now proposing tariffs against the United States' three biggest trading partners. Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers pay the price of tariffs.
I don't believe
Can
it.
you guarantee American families won't pay more?
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow. But I can say that if you look at just pre-COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars, and we had no inflation.
Nope.
In fact, when I handed it over,
1.2%, I
they
think.
didn't have inflation for a year and a half. They went almost 2 years just based on what I had created. And then they created inflation with energy and with spending too much. So I think I'm a big believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's going to make us rich. We're subsidizing
Classic
Canada
Trump.
to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico.
You remember the meeting Trump had with Justin Trudeau? He says if Justin Trudeau cannot, I think, cope with the tariffs, then Canada can become the 51st state of America and Trudeau be the governor. That was hilarious. It's just classic Trump. I mean, there's just that fresh air now in the whole world. Everybody feels like, yeah, someone is back in charge because the world had gone haywire. Even us in Wakanda, we were feeling the chaos. So I'm confident this next 4 years will be good for the world, not just America. Now, he's not just the president of America. I think he's the president of the world.
We're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
Sir, your previous tariffs during your first administration cost Americans some $80 billion. And now you have major companies from Walmart, Black & Decker, AutoZone saying that any tariffs are going to force them to drive up prices for their consumers. How do you make sure that these CEOs, that these companies don't, in fact, pass on the cost of tariffs to their consumers?
They cost Americans nothing. They made a great economy for us. They also solve another problem. If we were going to have problems having to do with wars and having to do with other things, tariffs, I have stopped wars with tariffs by saying, you guys want to fight, it's great, but both of you are going to pay tariffs to the United States at 100%.
Yep.
And they have many purposes, tariffs, if properly used. I don't say you use them like a madman. I say properly used. But it didn't cost this country anything. It made this country money. And we never really got the chance to go all out because we had to fight COVID in the last part. And we did it very successfully. And when I handed it over to Biden, the stock market was higher than what it was just previous to COVID coming in. It was actually higher. Tariffs are properly used, are a very powerful tool, not only economically, but also for getting other things outside of economics.
Well, again, prices did go up on some goods in your first administration, washing machines, tires. Will you punish CEOs?
Let me just explain to you. No, you mentioned.
I mean, I wish they would have really grilled Biden like this when, no, he's still in office. They should go grill Biden. He's been there for 4 years. The economy is tanking. I wish they could really show such vigor when they are sitting down with Biden. because it makes no sense. Is this the extension of the Democratic Party? The media is acting like they are opponents to the president, not journalists, and everyone sees that now. So I hope they change your strategy. If not, they'll just tank. They'll just tank.
Washing machine. So you look at Whirlpool in Ohio. I got a call from Jim Jordan, one of the greats, congressman from Ohio. And he said, they're going out of business because South Korea and China are dumping washing machines into our country. And I put a 50% tariff on the washing machines coming in from China and South Korea. And Whirlpool and the companies that made washing machines, which are based in Ohio, largely based in Ohio, went through the roof. We saved thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs. They were all going out of business because they were dumping washing machines. And when I put the tariffs on, they became successful businesses. No, it didn't, not only did it cost people, it made our country stronger and more powerful, and it kept jobs.
And not many people really knew about this. I mean, I think that's why Trump has really hired media personalities, those who got the brains, but they're also comfortable in front of the camera, so that they can put these messages out there. All the things that the administration is doing, there'll be good communicators to put it out there so the people know what is going on. I like that.
How do you make sure that consumers don't wind up paying more? Will you punish CEOs who try to pass the cost of tariffs on to their customers?
Well, the market's going to take care of it. I mean, actually, the market takes care of it. And if it doesn't, we adjust it somewhat. But in the case of Whirlpool, or let's say companies that made washing machines, they were all being put out of business by the dumping from, in particular, South Korea and China. And when I put the tariffs on, very substantial tariffs, although peanuts compared to what people do to us, what countries do to us, it became a very, very powerful, successful company. Now, let's say I didn't do the tariffs. It would have gone out of business. You would have lost tens of thousands of jobs, and you don't include that in your equation. No, they make a lot of money. I'll go a step further. Tariffs are going to make our country rich.
Yep.
Tariffs are going to help us pay off $35 trillion in debt. Tariffs are going to make our country safe. I'll probably stay with exactly what I've been saying for the last 2 years, and the answer is no.
You commit to that?
Well, I commit. I mean, do things change? I think they change. I hate to go on shows like Joe Biden. I'm not going to give my son a pardon. I will not, under any circumstances, give him a pardon. Watch this. And I always knew he was going to give him a pardon, and so I don't like putting myself in a position.
Trump is a smart guy, keeping his options open. And besides, he does not want to give them ammunition where they'll go on a tirade saying, Trump says he'll do this, he'll do that, and they have 1 month to cover their tracks. So he's being smart here.
So things do change, but I don't think it's going to change at all.
Okay. Let's talk about some of your picks to fill out your administration.